Transition.
Aloha, boys and girls. Welcome to the Sticks Live. We are live, and I'm actually in a really good mood. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm on officially Thanksgiving break off of college. But how is everyone doing today? Off the bat, ask you guys a quick question. How's everyone doing today? Really quick, just rapid fire. Really quick.
Well, I don't go to school, so I'm doing great.
You're doing great, Tommy.
I had a 9 a.m. lecture. What was it? Apart from that, I'm good.
What was the lecture about?
It was we were actually you don't want to know about this. So basically, it was about to do with sport development and to do with the Labour government. If you're from the UK, you know what that is, and to do with their reign from 1997 to 2010 and their influence. Blah 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 blah. It was a bit boring.
That sounds really good. If you would inform me that, if there's like a lecture video I could see, I would love to have that link if possible.
It's really actually interesting. Like, and I was going into like, oh my god, this is gonna be, and it was actually quite entertaining, etc. But yeah,
that's good.
Anywho.
Paradox, how are you doing today, my friend? Obviously, Paradox is the guest for today's show, but how are you doing, so? How are you doing, sir?
Doing really good. I had like a wonderful weekend. Went and visited some friends, and of course, everybody else was playing Black Ops 3. But yeah, it's great to be here.
That's good. And also, it was double XP this past weekend. If anyone did that, well, I'm sure you're probably a higher level up. Actually, I'm not bragging myself, but I think leveled up like our prestige 1.5 times. So I mean, not like throw myself out there and saying
you played so much Call of Duty this weekend.
Who did? Me?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I played a good amount. I played a good amount. I gotta learn the game, man. Gotta learn the game. But
You're sitting there like, I played a little bit. And I was like, you lie. You played it all weekend.
I didn't play it all weekend because obviously I do have other things to attend to. But I did play it quite a lot. So what we're gonna do now, really quickly, before we get to the main topics of the show, is give our introductions really quickly, really brief. You don't have to go into too much detail about yourself. If you want to shout out anyone, feel free to. And like I said, we're also gonna have Paradox introduce himself as well. Probably Paradox will go longer than everyone else since like we all give the same intros every week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with Tommy, then to Goalie, and then I will go to Paradox, and I will kind of close this out as we head into the question of the week. So Tommy, if you would give a brief summary of yourself, that would be fantastic. Get in the box.
As Landon walks away. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. I'm your resident ginger from the UK.
Forget.
Not much from Europe, yeah, basically. Not much you need to know about me. I do content on YouTube to do with Call of Duty esports. I'm a content creator for Excel. I will also do other stuff on the sideline. I do like all sorts. Just that's all the boring stuff, should we say? But yeah, I do content for Call of Duty esports. That's the main thing. That's what we're here to talk about.
That's true. You do make great content. I've actually been wondering where your uploads have been recently because you haven't been uploading as often. But
I've been ill.
You've been ill.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I've been very ill. Haven't been. It sucks because on Thursday I had to record 2 different shows. Not fun when I was not 100% because I'm sure, as you know, like when you're in front of a camera, you always feel like you need to try to be entertaining, not
Absolutely.
like, oh guys, my name's Tommy.
So you want to be Goalie, right?
No,
I'm kidding. Hi guys.
Hi guys.
I feel like I'm being picked on right now.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding, Goalie. So Tommy's been sick.
I wasn't 100%. Yeah.
All right. Goalie, how have you been? Or no, we're not talking about that. We're giving your introductions. Goalie, who are you?
Hi, my name's Goalie. I run COD Esportspedia. I run the Sticks. And yeah.
Very simple. I like it. Paradox, who are you? For those who may not know, most of you probably do, but in case you don't, Paradox, if you want to give a brief summary of yourself, at least longer than Goalies. I think it should be at least a little bit longer than Goalies.
All right, so we're gonna go for longer than goalies.
Yeah.
All right.
So at least 5 seconds.
All right, at least 5 seconds. I think I can do that. Well, I'm Paradox. I'm a caster for Call of Duty, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And I'm a junior in college. If you're like wondering about my age, I'm like 20 years old. So.
Nice. So that was perfect. That was like standard. You give your age, you say what you're doing currently. That was perfect. I don't know if I can't beat that, but what's up, guys? Also a Call of Duty at least trying to be a Call of Duty caster. Obviously host the Sticks, make YouTube videos, and I never stream. I'm 19 years old, and I'm from Southern Illinois. It is currently 30 degrees outside, and it is very cold, and I'm not liking it, so I have a sweatshirt on. It's probably why Goalie has a sweatshirt on, because it's always cold in Canada. And I think it's really cool where Paradox is from Detroit, like he said. He's from Michigan. So I can't imagine
Yeah.
how cold it is there either. Because I think it's like snowing in Chicago. I know.
Yeah, it was snowing here.
Was it?
It didn't hit the ground, but it was snowing here on Friday. So.
It snowed here like Friday and Saturday. There was so much snow on the ground.
Really? I got lucky.
Quick question before we get into the question of the week: do you, yes or no, like winter? Because it seems like either you hate winter or you love winter. I'm curious what side you guys are on, because obviously we're all from different parts of the world, because I have to include Tommy. No offense, Tommy. But do you like winter or do you just not like it at all? Or are you in between? Because I've never heard anyone who's in between. It's usually you like it or you hate it. I'm curious.
Yeah, I guess I like it because I'm not fast. Like I just get on with it kind of thing. So yeah, just put a couple extra layers on, turn the heating on if it's, I'm quite good normally with my homeostasis.
Okay. Homeostasis. Okay, big words.
Sorry.
All right. Gola, do you like or dislike winter?
I love winter, man.
You love winter.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's the only time of the year that my allergies are under control. So.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that is a good call. That's a good call. That's a
Mhm.
good call. Yeah, winter's good in that part.
It does get cold in my house, though. For some reason, I don't understand why. My room in the summer, it's the hottest room in the house, and in the winter, it's the coldest room in the house. So, I don't know. I can't win there, but at least allergies are better.
Okay. Well, there's at least one positive. Paradox, do you like or dislike winter? Or at least snow, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
All right. So at the beginning, like I like winter when we're around this time. When we get to like January and February, I cannot wait for it to go away.
Technically, winter hasn't actually started yet.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's still fall. It's still like the beginning of fall, isn't it? Or
I should
autumn?
say do you like cold weather is technically what I should have asked. But
Yeah.
Oh, well. Personally, I love winter or snow or cold. I'd much rather be cold than hot because I can actually solve the problem of being cold. That's the way I always look at it. And I love snow. Getting off from school is fantastic. That's like a 5-year-old answer. But either way, really, I love snow. I love the snow. Let us know. I mean, if you want to on YouTube or put in the comment or the chat right now, if you guys like winter or not. Debating on where you're from, you might not actually have winter if you're like from California or Florida. So either way, what we're gonna do now.
That just means it's like 70 degrees for them. So
that's true. So they probably really like it because it's like 70 degrees is like perfect, at least in my opinion. So now what we're gonna do is do the question of the week. If you guys want to have your questions submitted, use the hashtag STiKS QOTW. Tweet at me, Tommy, Goalie, or the TheSTiKSLive Twitter account, or anyone in the Sticks fan, and we'll add you into the box of questions. Tommy informed me before the show started that people are getting a little bit curious why the questions aren't revolving around esports stuff. And to that, I respond with, that is your problem. Because you ask the questions. You ask the questions. So if you want to have an esports question, do what I just said, and it will be in this box, most likely in the next couple of weeks. So that is on you, my friends. Okay.
Maybe we should weed out some of the non-esports related questions.
No, we're just gonna do it, man. We don't actually have too many. So we have around like 8 or 9 in here currently.
Okay.
So we're definitely getting short.
Landon pre-show has been going through them. Go, oh, I hope I pick out that one today. Ooh,
I don't know. See, like, look. Okay, tell me when to
"Ooh,
stop.
I want that
Just
one."
stop.
It's like a
Just
pre-show.
stop.
See, there's no way of me knowing. Box over there. Okay, this is the question that I wanted. Okay, this works. Okay, actually, this is the one I kind of wanted, to be honest. All right, so this one is from Berry, I guess. I spelled Berry with Berry. So unless you were a fruit, either way, it says, if there could be one organization to join during Black Ops 3, what org would you want most and why? Any organization that you want to, obviously esports, probably not in Call of Duty. Well, it obviously says to join during Black Ops 3. So we're assuming it not already being a Call of Duty organization. What org would you want most and why? That's an interesting question. So thank you, Barry. Spelled incorrectly, most likely. Appreciate your question. And if you want your question to be submitted, like I said, use hashtag STiKS. QOTW, I just missed. And we will attend to that and put it in the question of the week box. Very nice. I know. I feel good. I feel better today than normal. So that's probably why I'm so excited. So obviously you want an organization to join during Black Ops 3. Say that they can. You get to decide who and what organization do you want to join the scene. I'm going to start off with Goalie.
Oh wow!
Start off with Goalie.
Your mic kind of peaked there. Be careful with getting close, homie.
I'll be careful. I'll stay right here. So Goalie, if you could have one organization join in the chat as well as even on the YouTube comments, feel free to answer this question as well. What order do you want?
Well, because just to keep it kind of realistic with the question, I'm gonna go with the rosters that are currently available.
Mhm.
And I really want someone to pick up Tommy and Swanee's roster really badly because that's a top 2 European roster easily. So out of all the European orgs,
It's difficult.
I want Navi.
Navi.
Ooh.
Solid.
What?
That's solid.
Because I want to go to an event and cheer Navi, Navi, Navi. And I have a Navi hoodie back there somewhere, so that's why.
Okay. Navi, a historical organization. I think, like, honestly, whenever I think of Navi, I think of, like, this is kind of weird, but I think of them as like a college. Like, I think of all esports organizations as like a college, and I think of Navi as being like Harvard. Like, I don't know why. I just think of them being super prestigious and being smart. I don't know if that's just me or not. So Goalie's gonna go with Navi. Solid choice.
Navi.
Novice. What is it? Like,
I don't even know how to say it.
you have a sweatshirt and you don't even know how to say it.
It's Latin, man. I can't speak Latin.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Well, either way, I think
just
Navi. What
hope
they?
don't come in because who's cast is gonna have a job pronouncing the full thing.
I don't think it's that difficult.
Kingdom
right?
just said Huggies. He wants Huggies to get.
What? That's not an organization.
14 and 15-year-olds.
Interesting. Either way, so Goalie's gonna go with Navi. Okay. I don't know about Kingdom. Either way, so move on to. I'm gonna go to Paradox. I'll give Tommy a little chance to think.
Yes.
Paradox, if you could have an organization, not a random company, Kingdom, to join in to Black Ops 3, who would you want and why? Any
Right. So this is going to be like a super simple reason why.
Yeah, there's no problem with
The
it.
org is going to be Liquid.
Liquid?
Team Liquid.
Okay. Team Liquid.
And I just really like the jackets
Those jackets are nice.
That's not a bad.
Yeah.
so much.
That's not a bad
That
explanation.
is a great reason.
The
Why can't we
apparel.
be as simple as that?
So who is
Because
Liquid?
I want that jacket and I need
Who is Liquid picking up then? What team are they, or what roster out of any of the rosters? They can be owned by a current team too.
Any of the rosters.
Any of the rosters, like they can pick up OpTic Gaming.
Whoa,
Not-
whoa there. Simmer down.
Let's see. That's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
That's difficult. Yeah, Goalie threw a curveball.
Mhm.
Difficult. I think like
I'm actually looking at some of those rosters and I'm thinking like who would work,
yeah.
who wouldn't, who's gonna last. 'Cause that's obviously a big deal. Which we'll be talking about these rosters a little bit soon, so I know we'll get more in depth with these.
Okay, well let's give Paradox time to think about it,
Yeah, you
and
just
then let's
threw
go
a
on to
curveball.
Tommy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give my
Right, Tommy.
answer. So I kind of go along the same route as Goalie, but he's already gone with apparently top 2 team in Europe or whatever you want to say. But there is obviously still Reedy, Vance, Dominite, and Josh who need to pick up. You probably half the players you probably like who are they? Who still need roster. So another European team that I would like to bring in would have to be 100% Fnatic. Just 110%. They've already been in Call of Duty.
Solid.
I thought you were going for them.
I didn't even think of
thought you were gonna
Fnatic.
say them.
That was a
Like,
solid choice.
I was thinking, why is he saying Fnatic? So yeah, I would go for Fnatic. They've already been in Call of Duty back in like COD 4 around that era. Make it happen. Simple as. They could
Make it happen.
but they got-
Simple as that.
I mean, we could see TSM return, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
We will indeed. We'll be talking about a lot of different stuff toward the end of the show. I have a lot of side topics to mention. So far, Goalie has chosen Navi, Paradox has chosen Liquid, and Tommy has chosen Fnatic. So I think it's only correct and only right that I go with, another American team, much like Paradox. I'm going to go with what was previously known as the American Dream in CSGO. I'm going to go with Cloud9, C9. I think would be fantastic. I love their apparel as well. That's another choice of reason why. I just love their branding. They're great people. And, they're basically like the definition of an American team. Because, like, their League of Legends team, their CSGO team, they don't have the best of squads, but they're doing their best to try to get involved and, try to prove that America's still good at esports.
If I'm not
Another
mistaken, Incarnation is European and he's on the LCS roster. I think they just picked up a Chinese player, Asian player.
Okay,
too.
well, okay, you know what I mean. They're technically like you think of when you think of like
Cloud9,
League of
yeah.
Legends. Yeah, you think of Cloud9 as being like the Americana team. All right. So
Mhm.
okay, there we go. So I think we're gonna go ahead and move on after the question of the week. Like we said, guys, feel free if you want to put what organization you think or that you would like to join the Call of Duty scene of Black Ops 3 in the comments on YouTube, and also put it in the chat. We'll be looking at those, and I might reference a couple. I see some people saying TSM. I've seen someone saying Navi, and they said Natus Vincere. Vincere?
I could look at the spelling, but I wouldn't be able to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult, to be honest. So we'll see. I see a lot of people talking about the OpTic rumors about CS:GO. We'll get to that. And we also have some announcements to do during the show. Should I give away one of them now, or should we just do it later? Just pick one.
If you want to, yeah, go ahead. You can. Well, or do you just want to do all the announcements at once?
I kind of want to like spread them out throughout the entire show.
If you want now, and then we can save a couple.
Then we can recap it at the end of the show.
Okay, we'll do that. So before we get into our first topic, which is the teams invited to the Call of Duty League qualifier.
Drum roll.
All right, this is probably like the less of the three. Spoiler: we have 3 announcements to give you guys. Out of the 3.
That's really. Can you stop, please? Oh my!
You just gave me a massive headache.
Yeah.
I didn't plan on going for so long, but then Landon kept on talking. I was like, what do I do?
Because you kept drumming, I just stopped because I couldn't think straight. I was like, what am I saying? I'm kidding. So out of the 3 announcements, this one is by far like the least, not like the least, but it's not like as like amazing as the other one. So what we're going to announce, and I'll let Tommy kind of go into it, or Goalie go into it a little bit more in depth. So keep in mind that, guys. We're going to be having our podcast be on iTunes officially. I don't know when the date. Oh, it's already there. Is it already there, Goalie?
Yep, it's already there.
Oh, there you go. It's on iTunes. Tell him, Tommy. Tell him.
Hit that follow button, and we will. Yeah, basically, I'll explain it. Goalie's the brains behind the works and everything. It's something I think we wanted to do for a good while now. People have been asking for it as well. In all fairness, because like a lot of people don't get to watch the show. It's an easy way of watching it on the way to work, the way home from work, during your lunch break, during evening, whatever, while you're doing something, doing your knitting for your nan, whatever.
Sorry, what? You want to say that one more time? Hold on. What was that? You're knitting for your nan. You're knitting
I do
for your
knitting
nan.
for my nan. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really good way, and I think a good thing that we should be utilizing to obviously give you the optimal chance to watch these shows, because we get it, the time zone is not great for everyone, and etc. So yeah, you can go right now to iTunes, search TheSTiKSLive, and follow it. And then every time we upload one of these, that includes this show, and I presume it will include the Friday show, what's also new that started, what Fox is doing, you will get a notification, and then you can watch it, download it, or whatever you want.
Exactly. And like, I know, kind of to reiterate what Tommy said, and I know Goalie's like been the brains behind the entire operation and stuff, but like this is honestly like a crazy like opportunity. I know it's been very difficult. Like I've heard podcasts in the past that they're having a really hard time trying to figure it out, and it's awesome that we're able to do it. And like I said, my major issue with having like streams and wanting to listen to podcasts is the fact that I don't want to go on YouTube and have to use, for instance, if you have a data plan, you can't just go on YouTube while you're driving, for instance, and just be able to listen to a podcast. It's very helpful to be able to have it on iTunes, to be able to have it where you can watch it all the time. So now you have the opportune time to do it, and you have no excuse to miss each and every episode. So they are obviously available to download. You guys can watch them and listen to them all the time, and I'll be doing my best, honestly, like as the show progresses, to make sure that it's not just visuals only, because I know a hard time is that your audio listeners are always like, you know what, we can't see what's going on, can you describe it in more detail? So my goal over the next couple of weeks is to kind of make sure that people who do listen to it only can have as good of an experience of listening to it rather than just watching it. So yeah, that's our first announcement to be made. We'll be announcing the other 2 things in just a little bit, so just stay tuned for that, and we're going to progress with the show. So
better and better.
It's going to get better and better. I swear to you, it will. At least I hope so. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about, for those who may not know, there was an announcement the other day that came out. Emails were sent out to players from Treyarch themselves saying that they are invited to the first opportunity to be in the Season 1 Call of Duty World League Qualifier. I know that was a lot of words. So basically what this means is that these 16 teams from North America, these 8 teams from the EU, and these 8 teams from the ANZ or Australia and New Zealand have an opportunity to basically qualify or have a guaranteed spot in Season 1 for the Call of Duty World League. These emails were sent out. Certain teams were chosen. Certain teams were not. There's some drama with that we'll get to. And so what we're going to do is we're going to announce all the teams who have been, talk about the teams who could possibly qualify, and get into some good discussions. I think we have some good topics to mention and talk about for these teams, as I know we've been watching them on streams and so on and so forth. So why is my text messed up? Like on Google Docs, it is like messing up. I don't know what this means. But either way, I don't know. So either way, from the NA, obviously there's going to be 16 teams invited and only 8 will qualify. For those who don't know, I believe it's 12 teams overall for the NA Season 1, so 8 of those spots will be filled. From the EU, 8 teams are actually going to be invited. 4 will qualify, and I believe they have a 10-team league. Is that correct? Is it 10 teams?
I think it's 10, and
right.
then ANZ is 8.
Right.
If I'm
That's what I thought. I think it's 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the ANZ. Okay, and 8 teams are invited. 4 will qualify from the ANZ, and that will basically bring up half of their situation there too. So we're going to announce the 16 teams who are invited from the NA, talk about them a little bit in depth, and then we'll move on and so on and so forth. So there's a list. Keep in mind, I'm going to read it off. I think this is in alphabetical order, which is fantastic. So first team is 3's Up. Then we have Apotheon Esports, Complexity, Denial, Dream Team, E6 Gold, which is the main team, like the old SB team. We have FaZe, Luminosity, OpTic Gaming, Rise Nation, Elevate Envy, TK Orbit, and 2 squads who have yet to find an organization as of yet. The first roster is consisting of Merc, Study, Killa, and Imbos, and the second roster is consisting of Tipsy, Anticity, Burnsoff, and Coldchan. First off, I'm going to ask you guys, the 2 teams who obviously haven't got an organization yet, the one being Merc's team and the other one being Burnsoff's team, do you guys think, actually I should say this because obviously they're going to find an organization. What org do you think could possibly be in line to pick these guys up? Orgs who don't have a roster for right now, organizations who haven't yet picked up a squad. Do you think, or who do you think is going to be interested in either of these teams to want to join? Because obviously, if you have any opportunity to get in the Call of Duty World League, there will be an organization. I swear to you, there will be an organization out there that will obviously pick these guys up. They're not going to go as some random squad. So, in your guys' opinions, is there anyone out there that you're thinking in specifics where they could join? At all, that's going to be left up to anyone because I know no one's probably going to be looking to answer this one. But is there any rosters, any obviously outside organizations that could enter in as well? I know we've mentioned some that we'd like to enter the scene.
It's like frustrating because it annoys me when these rosters come together but don't think about the org part and just like who's gonna fund them? Like they gonna fund themselves because but I'm honestly surprised that we still don't know. It's the same with the European teams that don't have orgs. I don't know if there's something to do with contracts because obviously Merc, from our previous knowledge, was obviously with Envy, so we still don't know what's going on with that. Embos with OpTic, whatever. I don't know what's the deal with Burns, Tipsy, and Coldchain and Co. But I don't know. It's weird. They must have had offers. I would be very surprised if they haven't had an abundance of offers. So I presume it's just a case of working out which org can benefit them the best.
Right. Paradox or Goalie, any thoughts to add on to that? I know he kind of covered it, basically. But do you guys have any ideas or thoughts about what organizations or, anything that could happen with those 2 teams at all?
Personally, haven't given too much thought about possible orgs that can come and pick them up. And now that you mention it, go and think, because like Tommy did say, Merc and Imbo sort of previous affiliations, organizations that are already inside of Call of Duty. So I will say I'm very interested to see which orgs pick up these 2 rosters.
Absolutely. These are it's kind of hard to say because these aren't necessarily thrown together rosters. Obviously, to some point there was a deadline that you had to announce. So then obviously that's when the invites would be sent out to the teams who had already confirm the rosters and stuff. But so these 2 teams aren't bad at all. Like there are some rosters that are just thrown together and you're like, what were they thinking? Like, did they just not even think about this previously? But these are just some pretty good teams so far that we have. Like we said, Merc, Killa, Study, and Imbos is a roster. Then we have Tipsy, Anticity, Burnsoff, and Coldchan. I know a lot of people might not know too much about Coldchan. From what I've seen, he's a beast in this game. So really excited to see how he plays. Anticity as well, returning from a W with teams like AR. I think he was previously pretty well known on. as well. We have Burns Off, Tipsy. I mean, these guys are all well known in the scene. Like everyone, for the most part, knows about these squads. But there were actually three teams that weren't invited out of these 16 teams that we mentioned, and there was a little bit of drama behind it. We're not going to talk about it too much. It's kind of unfortunate, the things that do surround this. I'm not sure if I'm not going to throw Glenn under the bus, but I might have him explain it a little bit, the reason why some of these things might be going on, if that makes any sense. Is that correct? Did I word that correctly?
Well, what are you're talking about how teams were picked and...
Yes.
Man, you're throwing me under the bus.
I'm not throwing you under the bus because you're the person who's going to explain it. If I explain it, someone's going to be like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about, which is true. Like, that's.
Okay, I can kind of explain it, and then you should pop in, Tommy. So a couple weeks ago, it might have been one or 2 weeks ago, Activision released a list of players' names. And any of those players that were on that list could submit a team as the captain of a team. They could submit a roster with any 3 other players on it. It didn't matter if those players weren't on the list. It's just one person on that team had to be on the list. And some of the issues that some of the orgs are that didn't get invited, going to name Kinetic Empire and Stunner. I think they both had 4 players on the list, and there were some orgs that were invited that only had 3 players on the list, which a lot of people are not very happy with. Now, I think in a leaked DM from Ron, who is a producer at ESL, he said that the more players you have on the list, the better chance that you have of getting an invite. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that you're going to get the invite.
Right.
It just means you have a better chance of it. And I think Threes Up only had 3 players. I think Apotheon only had 3 players on the list. And Tipsy's roster with Burns, Colchan, and...
a few.
What?
There was at least a few.
There were at least a few, and I know Kinetic Empire. Every one of those players was on the list, so they kind of feel wronged that they weren't even or they didn't get an invite, and they were probably the last team on the chopping block. But yeah, do you want to talk about it, Tommy? I'd prefer not to say anything.
Yeah, I'll say what my personal opinion is, because I think. I go back to the thing about like how these teams don't still have an org. That's what frustrates me. I think the deadline was whenever at the end of whatever week, a couple of weeks back. By then they should have submitted rosters and the team org, because now we're in the situation where we've got 2 teams from Europe and from North America that have been invited, and both don't even have an org, and it just looks a bit stupid, if I'm honest. Like, it looks silly, it looks a bit unprofessional, if anything. I know that's probably some things are out of the hand. If things happen, rosters don't work, orgs pull out, whatever, things happen. But it was clearly stated, and as Goalie rightfully said, Kinetic Empire, I personally feel deserve a spot there, and you can see where they're coming from and thinking, well, is favoritism kind of coming into it? Not suggesting any of this to be true, but it's just my personal opinion, because you've got to think about it, because like what Goalie just said, just to reiterate, there was a list of about 55, 60 players.
It was a lot of players.
Yeah, a lot of players. And as Goalie said, you just needed one of those players, and they could be your captain, and then you could have 3 completely random people. You could pick up me, or not me, because I'm not from North America. You pick up Goalie, Kingdom, and Landon, or Paradox, whoever you want. You can pick up anyone, and then enter in and see if you get invited. But obviously, logically, you'll think, well, if we have 4 players on the list, then we've surely got a better chance, because they consider us to be kind of that top band, or whatever they kind of consider you to be, because they've obviously invited you. So with Kinetic having 4 players, whereas there was at least 3 or 4 teams, I know that for sure, that only had 3. It's a bit like, well, aren't you kind of contradicting what you're saying about how you're doing your invite?
Well,
but
it was just the original post that they made is very vague. It doesn't even state that, or what the players on the list mean. and it's just a list of players. It was extremely vague.
Like, these guys should be on your team.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, and for
Like,
D Sharp in the chat, Kinetic Empire is it's actually an organization that was built from 4 organizations. It's weird. But off the top of my head, I think it's Sinful, Twiz, Royalty, and Llama.
very good.
There we go.
Very good. Nice. But yeah, I mean, and kind of like, I always say the word reiterating, but just kind of like rephrasing what you guys said. This is, it's hard to obviously choose 16 teams. I mean, you have a lot of amazing talent. I mean, you look at the list of players that they had on the list. I mean, you can just see like the amount of players who are actually wanted to be like, these guys aren't just players. They're players who are actually looked out for, that people actually want to see on a team and are very talented, might I add as well. But on that list, they also had EU players to choose from. They also had ANZ players. It wasn't just America. But getting back to this certain situation, it's really hard to limit the amount of players, obviously, to be on this list. There's 16 teams. You're going to have teams who are going to be screwed out. I think Mochila's team wasn't chosen. We obviously talked about Kinetic Empire, and I believe also Stunner was like one of those teams who could have been thrown around in the mix too. I know there was like, well, why did they choose 3ZUP and DT? Because it was like those 4 teams are around the area where it's like, do you choose this one or that
and
one?
I understand why they picked some teams. Like 3ZUP, that organization, was it Champs, if I'm correct? Right?
Yeah.
Or what?
They've definitely been at Champs. One way
Like
or
3ZUP was
another.
at Champs. Denial, I think, only had 3 players on the list. They were at Champs. So they won Champs. So I can understand why Denial getting an instant invite no matter the roster.
You can argue it in the sense of that because obviously, they've been around, like, not trying to be like, oh, well, they deserve a spot because they've been in the scene for this long and they've done this much service, blah, blah, blah. But, like, Kinetic are a new org. I don't know. I don't want to say something like I shouldn't, but yeah, they had 4 players, others had 3. People were going to obviously look at that one way or another. I mean, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think it would have been better if they, instead of announcing the lists of players, just told the players individually so that we knew, say they announced it, but we don't need to know the players. Like they could just say, we've invited 60 players from this region, this region, this region to create teams. They will then, we'll select 16 from North America and so on for Europe and ANZ. And then they'll go to qualifier and have the chance to qualify for the COD World League. Would it have not been better to do it that way than rather than telling us every single player that's been invited?
I think
we don't need to know.
The major issue with that would have been is that one, with our community, it would have been leaked on Twitter. All the news outlets would have known ahead of time. Like, I would have known. I know of a lot of stuff that I can't talk about. And and it's like you have to always release a public statement when it comes like that, because otherwise then you announce these qualified teams and the community's going to even be in more uproar. They're going to be like, why weren't we invited? We don't even, like, why was this team invited over us? And at least with a the vague list, I can't say this word correctly, at least ESL or Activision, whoever is in charge of that, can say this is why, or they can give at least an explanation. Whether it's a good explanation or not, they can give an explanation.
I feel like, too, personally, like, if they would have sent those emails out, not really mentioning it, players would be like, oh yeah, I'm a free agent, and guess what, I have an opportunity to be in the World League.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They would be like, I have a spot. Like, I feel like that was like a good option, but the way that the Call of Duty scene works, like, I mean, you even saw when teams got invited, they're like, hey, look at this email I just got. Like, hey, look at this email we just got. Organizations were tweeting out, hey, we just got, this thing. And I feel like organizations, if all their players would have got separate emails saying that, they'd be like, our team has officially been, we're going to form our roster and so on and so forth. I feel like that was a good idea and thought, but I feel like it would have gone a similar way, if that makes any sense, just based off of how the Call of Duty scene works. But I also look at it from 2 different standpoints. I look at it from the organizations who didn't get chosen, and I look at it from the organizations who I look at it from a different position. I look at it from Kinetic Empire, look at it from Stunner, and even Mochila's team. And I look at it and say, you know what? We were a formed roster. We have 4 players on the list. Why weren't we chosen? Is this a popularity contest? Where does this come into play? Where we weren't invited over a team who doesn't have an organization, who doesn't have this, who doesn't have that. But then you also have to look at it and say, where's your previous history? Like, when is Kinetic Empire?
Kinetic Empire is a brand new org.
Right.
It's a
And
brand
that-
new org, and you can argue that's just like
yeah.
not having an organization at all.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it's just like having a name instead of not having a name in a
I-
way. And we're not hating on Kinetic Empire,
no.
but they don't. I mean, they've never had it. This isn't Isolation Empire. This isn't XGN. This isn't Justice. These are different. This is a different team.
I guarantee you that roster would have been invited if they were Isolation Empire or
I feel like they
Isolation
would have too.
Esports.
But we obviously, I mean, we think that it would have, but we don't. Really
It might not have, but like, I know that especially like Merc's roster, I know of a couple organizations that they were going under, or that they were going to go under, and it didn't happen. It just didn't ended up happening because of the roster lock and the players that they decided to go with. And that could be a reason that Activision is hoping that a certain org is in their league instead of a certain org. That could honestly be true, but
right. And even with the rosters who obviously were chosen that don't have a team yet, because we're basically talking about those specifically, like I said, the Merc team and also Burnsoft team, you have to look at it and say, imagine the Call of Duty World League, the first tournament, not having Merc, not having Study, not having Kill It, not having Imbos, not having Anticity or Burnsoft, since those players are more known, especially Burnsoft out of the other three. I think that roster was kind of like the one where you kind of just like, that was like the line. Like, do we go with this team? Do we go with that team? But having I think honestly, the names that you have on your team are also very important. As much as we don't like to say that and say, popularity isn't a thing, it's, do we want a roster who's never competed before, or do we want a name that does have a roster but doesn't have as well known of players? And I'm not saying that that's any way, like whether you go one side or the other. It's just that's how things work. You know, and I know Treyarch, or I guess you'd say just them in general, they're not familiar with how the system works, which is kind of unfortunate. But they're looking at it from a back off standpoint and saying, would the viewers, would this happen, would that happen? Do they want to see this roster? They want to see this roster. That's how life works. You're going to go with what you're going to get more viewership with, which is really unfortunate. I have to say that that's how the world works in a way. But either way, there wasn't going to be a solid option out of this. And one thing that they can look at as a positivity out of this entire situation is that this isn't the only opportunity that you're going to have to get in the World League. Obviously, after this tournament goes down, which I believe is like on December 3rd to the 5th, which you should have mentioned already, but I don't think we did.
4th through the 6th, actually.
Is it 4th through the 6th, actually? Okay, my bad. So I'll actually change that. I think.
Fair enough.
I don't even know. Goalie has all the intel. I don't have any. But like we said, like there's going to be another opportunity for these guys to have a tournament. This is the LAN qualifier. 8 teams will make it from this one. And I think there's going to be an online qualifier. We haven't heard a date on that yet.
I assume, and you had told me that you heard that there was going to be an event or some type of thing in between January when the World League's supposed to start and December. So I'm assuming that's when the online qualifier is. Like, it has to be before Christmas, obviously. And it has to be after the LAN Invitational. So the next weekend or the weekend after.
Right. So we don't know for sure. Like they haven't announced anything past that. They just said there'll be more opportunities off of this one because obviously you have 8 spots filled, at least in the NA. We'll get to the other countries as well, which I'll have Tommy talk about that in just a second. But like we said, there's 8 teams chosen from the NA. There's another 8 spots to be chosen. You're going to have an online qualifier. Granted, it's not LAN.
4 spots. It's a 12-team league, not 16.
My bad. I meant to say that. Sorry. Thank you. I would have gotten flamed for that. 12 teams. You have 4 more spots to choose from. Obviously, not all these teams are going to make it. I can't imagine having some of these players that are on like some of these teams. Like not all the top teams are going to make it at the Call of Duty World League. Like not all, like you're not going to see every single team that was in the previous season in this one. And that's like when it comes into play where teams start trading and all that stuff, which is going to be more regulated this year as well. So there's going to be a lot of different opportunities. Like we said, it's very hard to choose which teams go where. And, I don't like to say it's a popularity contest, but sometimes, where do you go from here? There's not COD Pro points to go off of because, we're not with – it's like switching over to a new system and then trying to go off of that past system to choose what teams go where. And it's like you can't do that because we're somewhere new now.
It's a really – it was really hard. I do not envy the person that had to make that list and who had to make the final call on the list.
Absolutely. So I know we talked about the NA – teams enough. I'm gonna move over to and actually have Tommy talk about the EU teams and the A&D teams. I'm having Tommy talk about it because it's just gonna be mentioning their names and not having anything else to say about him for the most part. To be really honest, so I'm gonna have Tommy.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what Tommy's here for. That's the only thing.
Do it.
That's a joke. All right, Tommy, go ahead.
Damn it.
Oh man.
Use my service. How dare you? Yeah, it's pretty much the same for Europe. There has been like what was it? Eight teams invited, and basically divided by half. That's the number of teams that are going to get to qualify. Did we get a confirmed number of how many teams it would be for the European League? It's either 8 or 10.
I'm pretty sure it's 10. I'm not 100% sure though, because
I'll actually check.
I think the original format said it's 10, but only 4 teams from this qualify. So that means that 6 teams from online would qualify, which doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. But either way, that's irrelevant because we'll cross that bridge sometime down the road, or maybe, there's something else we don't know about. But the 8 teams, just to go through them for your guys' sake, in case you're not too familiar with the European zone. It's first is Epsilon. They actually made a return by picking up their old E roster, what was Rated Joe, Moose, and Watson. Although I think Watson wasn't on there. He was,
Watson really was on Vitality.
Yeah.
At the time, or where?
Yeah, and then obviously he went over to Dream Team. Next we have Fab Esports, a German / bit of everything team in the heart of Europe. What is going to be Gunnerly, Kivi, Quickie, and Barker, who them last 2 players I'm even not familiar with, so I'll hold my hand up and kind of say that. Next, we've got Giants, what's a pretty familiar Spanish team formed of Toja. I'm going to have so much problem pronounce these names. I know now why you're giving me this job. Jay-Z and UFO? I don't know. What are these?
You have to read all the rosters.
He's Bulgarian, if that helps you out at all.
I want to.
Bulgarian.
This is like a spelling bee. You guys in America, like, seriously. Anyway, moving on. Team from the UK is Marky B, Urban, PT, and Zero. Then we have Team Orbit again from the UK. Shane, Vortex, Desire, Sunny B. Team Vitality, what's the last team that actually have an org, is Broken, Riskin, Gotaga, and Warriors. I don't think I've heard of him either, but obviously Gotaga going back to Millennium, that's a pretty big news story in the European scene. And then what we kind of touched on at the start when we're talking about what orgs we'd like to come into the scene, we were talking about Tommy's roster. What's Tommy, Jerd, Madcat, Swanee, a very, very good roster. Interesting to see who picks them up, because again, like the Embos, Merc, and co-roster, I would be very surprised if they haven't had a lot of attention from orgs within Call of Duty that don't yet have a roster, or even potentially orgs outside of Call of Duty. And then lastly, Josh, Bans, Dominite, and Reedy are in the same boat as well. Another pretty good team. Josh has been teaming with Tommy, Madcat, and co for a while. Reedy's been making a name for himself, so that's another team as well that's probably got a lot of eyes on them as well. Again, it's happening the same weekend. I'm pretty sure we don't know if the actual schedule, but
no, we don't know anything yet.
It's happening across the 4th through 6th weekend, but if they're all happening at once, that's just going to be chaotic. So rest in peace, goalie. We will miss you. Because you're going to be up around the clock.
I really hope that they decide to do a single qualifier on every day, because otherwise I feel like it's going to be they're going to stream it constantly, so it's going to be like NA, ANZ, EU, NA, ANZ, EU, and then I'm going to be up for like 72 hours, and it's just going to be brutal.
How would you fit?
CODpedia is going to have a lot of spelling errors.
How would you fit a 16-team qualifier into one day?
Single limb bracket.
That's the question.
Exactly, you don't.
Single limb bracket, no prize pool. So after the single limb's over, you're
it's not a tournament.
Yeah, you don't play out the rest of the bracket. So that's a way to do it.
Okay, well, whatever they do, that's up to them. I'm just happy I'm not in goalie shoes. I mean, hopefully we can see both Landon and Paradox casting NA qualifiers. That'd be pretty sick. I know they've already announced quite a few casters, but there's still time. There's still time. I'll hit them up. I'll just be like, you forgot Paradox and Landon. What are you doing? But that's pretty much all you need to know for Europe. It's exactly the same as North America. There's no like special treatment because we're British or because we're German or whatever. It is actually happening though, I think, at the ESL studios in Cologne, Germany though. It's kind of a bummer because I wanted to attend
and the US qualifier, the North American qualifier, is going at the ESL studio in Burbank, California. So
I heard that it was also in Los Angeles.
I heard Burbank, but you might be right.
I heard LA.
Okay.
But either way,
you guys
like
are right. I'm wrong.
behind me. So that means I'm going to be watching at like 3 a.m. and it's still only going to be like 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. But anyway, moving on just to the last one, just before I bore you guys. Last zone is obviously kind of the APAC region. That's kind of what we call it. What's New Zealand / Australia / whoever else you want to put in there, but it's pretty much all Australia and New Zealand. I won't go through the players this time because again I don't know who half of them are. But to go through the teams again, there's 8 teams. 4 will qualify. I think for this one we're definitely sure it's 8 teams within the league.
Yeah.
So we've got Avidity, we've got CWL Gaming, we've got Original, Platronics, Mind Freak, who I think made a return. I don't know, because I know they took a bit of a hiatus, but maybe not. Then we've got Platronics Envy, what's very confusing. We then got Sway Gaming, Tatent Mind, and Team Immunity making a return as well. So some kind of memorable names there. Obviously, Citadel Gaming were they were at Worlds?
Yeah, they were at Worlds. I'm pretty sure it's relatively the same roster. I think they made a few. Actually, I think they made 2 roster changes.
Okay.
I don't have the roster up with me at the moment, but it's half the team that attended Worlds, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
and then
either way,
I don't understand why Planetronics is allowed to have 2 teams in the ANZ region. Maybe just because it's a title sponsor, but I don't understand.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I think Platronics as headset, I think they're just sponsoring both these teams.
Yeah, because
so
it's Mind Freak and Team Envy are the organizations.
Yeah, it's always
And I think Planetronics just sponsor, or is just like a product sponsor or a title sponsor.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. Otherwise, someone hasn't done their job right.
I'm gonna say, if you guys have you guys seen the Tainted Minds logo?
It looks good.
Their Twitter is tainted.org, O-R-G, and I think their logo is probably one of the best logos we have on Call of Duty. Because it's creative,
different.
Yeah, it has
like I definitely.
Yeah, well, it has like that name, like it's kind of like a final boss name or like an automatic reload name. I love those names, and the logo kind of goes perfectly with it. I don't know.
I feel like they definitely made this team around Halloween. It's like, why not? Why not? But that pretty much wraps it up. That is your European teams and ANZ teams in a nutshell. 16 of them all together. Competing the same weekend, no different. Not sure about formatting. We're not sure about prize pool. We're not sure about a lot of things, but with less than
we got the invited teams. We got the invited teams.
We know. It's like we're gonna get to the day before, and we're like, I'm sure there's something we're missing, and they're sitting there like, we forgot to fly out the teams.
Yeah, it's like you have. It's like I imagine like everyone just like in a room, and they're like, okay, we got this done, we got this done. What are we missing? What maps are they playing? Like, oh my god, that was the one thing we forgot.
Okay, we have to talk about this. So they haven't. So the official rule set hasn't been announced yet.
They haven't announced the maps.
Yeah,
announced the game types. We don't know if we're playing Uplink or CTF. Maybe both.
Now, Paradox, I think you're the best person to talk about this because you have watched more Call of Duty than any of us.
Agreed.
What do you think about the entire situation? Like, what do you what are your favorite maps? Do you think there should be permaban guns or permaban perks or any of that stuff? Or I want everything. I want to hear everything that you have to say about what do you think the rule set would be.
So, I'll say I'm not the best judge as far as maps go, but there definitely, I would say, do need to be some permabans. We sort of see that already with like Hive being banned and like Shock Charge and Trip Mine, stuff like that. As far as guns go, I'm still leaning towards the side of no, but there definitely needs to be some tweaking. As far as the guns go, a lot of people I know, at least in pubs, have been complaining about the M8, some of my friends too, saying, oh my gosh, this gun is like really, really good and it's getting annoying. And then, of course, people have been talking about the LMGs as well and what sort of happens with those. As far as, like, perks or anything, I think taking out some things like Sixth Sense and Awareness, things like that, of course, people – I'm not sure where everyone stands with the Trip Mine – not the Trip Mine, the Thermite right now. I remember everyone was, like, really, really unhappy with it and was like, oh, this needs to go. That's sort of, I feel like that's sort of dying down, at least from what I've heard recently. But I would like to keep the permabans to a minimum, but we just have to sort of see how these things play out.
I know, or I should say, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember the patch notes, but I'm pretty sure that Thermite was tweaked in the patch notes. And when we played Arena, that was something that we banned every time.
Yeah, we're like not even gonna deal with it.
We had a like set list of things that we would ban, and we would always try to force our teammates or the enemy team to ban UAVs so that we didn't have to. But
I saw this is actually pretty relevant. Fizzerp, for those who don't know, Fizzerp, you probably do, plays for Apotheon, one of the teams who announced. He actually tweeted this because you guys mentioning this is like perfect. He said, "Thermites aren't even that good. I'll pick a Simtex over this any day." So after the patch, like players realize that this isn't as good. Even playing in pubs, like Paradox has mentioned, it's like some things they've definitely tweaked down. Obviously, the guns, LCAR9s. That's all I'm going to say. The LMGs, it's not even talk about that. But they obviously are taking down stuff and so on and so forth, but Thermites aren't as powerful as some people think they are. At least they have been patched at some point. So you can still walk in hard points. Sure, you're going to be a little bit damaged with health, but the same thing if you use grenades, if you use frags, basically the same thing. I don't think Thermites are nearly as viable as people think they are for the most part. So like we've said, so I think we're actually going to do right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we're going to make our next announcement. Then the last announcement will obviously be at the end of the show. And so on and so forth. So I think what we're going to do when we come back, talk about some bugs, some glitches on Black Ops 3, talk about IEM this weekend actually happened, a CSGO/League of Legends tournament, and also some other stuff to talk about with Twitch and so on and so forth. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys after this quick commercial break in 60 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Boop. Live. I love how Goalie says that. Can they hear you when you say live?
No, they cannot.
I think they should be able to do that now.
Because
the way he says it.
One of these times, God is just gonna accidentally click and say live.
It was beautiful.
Oh,
he just goes, and we are live.
Well, it happens a couple times because for some reason with XSplit, my custom transitions break for no reason. So I'll be like waiting for the transition. And it's like, oh shit.
Oh man, what is this?
What are scratching like? Oh, hi.
I feel like this is like this has been a really long day for me. I don't
it
know.
has been a very, very long day.
It has. All right, so I guess we should do the next announcement. We're at 1 for 3. We're getting ready to be 2 for 3.
We are ready for it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm probably doing the one that you guys think I'm not going to do. I'm just gonna say that right now. We're just gonna do it live.
Well, I already know which
Ian
one.
told us to do it when this point was in the show, so I'm just gonna do it now. Alrighty, guys. Well, this is a massive announcement for us. I want to have everyone chime in on it, even Paradox as well, because obviously he knows about. I almost said it. He knows about this particular thing too. So, without further ado, the TheSTiKSLive has officially announced that we are going to be back live streaming on Twitch.tv next week. So this is obviously a massive opportunity for us as well. If you guys want to go ahead and just saying it right now, I think our Twitch.tv/ is TheSTiKSLive. Is that correct?
It's the exact same handle for MLG.tv except just put Twitch instead.
Right. So Twitch.tv instead of MLG.tv. So first off, I especially want to say that we have enjoyed our time massively on MLG.tv. It was fun. And honestly, whenever MLG.tv was kind of brought up, we were like, we want to be there. Like, we were on Twitch. We were like, we want to be with all the pros. We want to be on the same platform as where Call of Duty was thriving at. A major deal with live streaming is the fact of, at least for Call of Duty's standpoint, is that basically MLG was the Twitch for Call of Duty for a very long time, especially for the last year and stuff. It's been a major deal for us. Should we switch back to Twitch? Should we be on MLG.tv? And we honestly loved our opportunity. We had such amazing times here with MLG. They were so kind to us and honestly super, super supportive of us coming over, making the transition, helping us get a sub button so you guys could subscribe and be a part of the Sticks fam. And obviously we were previously on Twitch. For those who don't know, we were on Kingdom's channel, which is another big announcement too, that we're not going to be on Kingdom's Soldiers channel anymore. We'll be having our own username, which is kind of a big deal because it was kind of hard for us to brand our show in a way, whether if Kingdom was on the show or not, because not every week Kingdom was on the show. So it was like, should we have the same name as him, even though he's not involved with it? And you know, it's obviously MLG isn't going to be as involved with Call of Duty. You're seeing players switch back and forth constantly. With Twitch, I think we've seen so many players switch, and you've seen a lot of growth as well. But we have to say a major thank you to MLG for everything that they've done for us, because I know a lot of people will hate on MLG.TV and say, you know what, this is like, you know, a major deal. But had it not been for MLG, had it not been for this website, we'd have not seen half of the growth that we would have saw without it. And we're definitely very, very excited about what we've done here, what we've accomplished, and what we're going to be doing moving forward. And you know, we're happy to be back with Twitch. But like we said, we're very thankful for the time that we've had on MLG.TV as well. Would anyone like to kind of talk about it in more specifics? I know it's just one person's opinion, one person's saying of it. But, you know, Goalie or Tommy or even Paradox, would you guys want to mention anything about MLG or Twitch, either one?
I think it's been a very interesting journey, I'll say, like from where it all started out and then when I came on board with the Sticks and kind of where it's all gone. And it's definitely just... yeah, it's just a new chapter, if you will, and it's just something that we're all looking forward to as ever. It doesn't really change too much in terms of the show. It just changes the location, and we're always gonna be bursting with energy on your screens every Monday and Friday for the foreseeable future until someone kicks us off and says you're rubbish. But hopefully no one will. But yeah, we're really excited for it. There's so much kind of in the background that I'm so excited and happy that I get to be a part of and get to know about, if you will, because it's quite exciting, that we've got planned along the way. What involves, I mean, I'll say one thing, because this is something that I hopefully we can get to, is doing like an actual live show, because I'm actually going to be out in America next year for a period, and it's something that would be pretty awesome. So it just shows you kind of what you can achieve when you put your mind to it and really kind of put hard effort and work in. So yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, as Landon said, the really important thing is it's not going to be on Kingdom's channel. It's going to be on our own, TheSTiKSLive channel, just so we can kind of diversify from, you know, you go on there and you realize that Kingdom's just playing like NBA, because that's what I always used to remember. So you can now know that when that channel is live, there is some sort of show talking about some sort of means of esport that you can tune into and have a really good time. So hopefully Landon is linking it in the chat.
Yes.
You can go follow it. I'm not sure if there's a sub button yet, but we're working on a couple of things. So yeah, it's really awesome.
We'll just get over there first.
Everything. It's been really awesome. But Goalie, what do you have to say?
You guys said what I wanted to say, so.
I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry.
Thanks, bro. But no, I see a couple people actually typing in the chat already on Twitch and stuff, and obviously we'll be there next week. I'm actually curious because I don't even know the answer to this question. Will Fox's show be on MLG.TV or
no? Fox's everything will be over. Every show that we do will be over there.
Twitch.tv.
Okay, so Fox's show will be like the premiere in a way on Twitch. Okay, well, awesome. Those let you guys go. If you guys are obviously watch Fox's show, you guys also will be able to experience it there. So major announcement for us. Like we said, very thankful for the time that we've had on MLG, the amount of support, the new fans that we've been discovered from on MLG.TV has also been phenomenal as well. And we appreciate you guys joining us on our journey yet again. And we promise this is the last time that we're moving. I don't care if Hitbox becomes a major streaming website. We're staying on Twitch because Twitch chat OP. That's all I'm going to say. I expect to see some Kappa Rosses in the chat every time that I call for it. So now we're going to move on to some side topics. I literally have the main point of this as side topics because there's many different things to mention. All of these are very much random and none of them really correlate to each other at all. So major thing that's going on right now that I want to ask you guys is obviously we're not in the middle of the game at all. This is the first month that Black Ops 3 has been out, maybe the third week, fourth week.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you guys your honest opinion for Black Ops 3 right now, because it seems like once we've gone past I think they call it the honeymoon period, this is where we kind of get our honest reviews. How's the game going? We're not just happy to play a new COD. We're kind of entering into where this is how the Call of Duty is going to be. This is, the general idea of it as well. So I'm curious, in your guys' opinions, honest review, how's Black Ops 2 working for you? Is there anything that you guys want to see improved? And how you guys think it relates to other Call of Duty titles in the past? I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are. And I'm gonna ask. I'm not gonna try to put Paradox on the spot, but I'm gonna ask Paradox.
I'm
gonna put you on the spot. No, but your opinions on the game so far now that we're kind of at that honeymoon period. Anything you really want to say about it, Paradox?
Still really, really enjoying Black Ops 3, like more so than I did at this point with Advanced Warfare and Ghost. So I want to say, actually, I don't know. This like Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, and then when I first started playing Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 2, it's sort of that same feeling for me still. It's like I still just want to get on and play as much as I can, and I probably would have played a lot more Black Ops 3 recently if I didn't just get Guitar Hero Live. But you know, that's another thing. But yeah, I'm still really, really liking the game. I like the weapons. I like a lot of the stuff that's going on, and I still have to go and have any of you played the campaign? Because I still haven't played the campaign. Like my friends have, but I haven't touched it all yet.
I mean,
I've touched it a little, if I can just interject. It's a weird campaign. I've because my girlfriend's quite into the campaign side of things, because not kind of calling her out, but she's not the best player on multiplayer playing against other people, because as you can expect, she's not someone that's played Call of Duty for years and years and years, and as a result doesn't like it when people kill her, because she believes that but I've seen her playing it. I played it a bit myself. It's a bit of a weird campaign. It's got definitely some unique like scenarios involved in it. I haven't really followed the storyline too much, but I from feedback from other people, a lot of people have been saying the campaign's actually kind of low par compared to other Call of Duties. But if you're in the chat, let us know. If you're in the YouTube comments, let us know as well, because if you some of you guys must have like at least played through the majority of it, if not all of it, and have a better idea than we do.
So, okay, I'm going to take this very slowly. I know we're going to talk about this, but the campaign, in my opinion, it's not the best. I know me and Goalie played it a little bit. We played with like 4 people, and we were talking through the entire thing, granted, but
I think that's mainly the issue why we don't like it. I'll have to play through the campaign sometime by myself if I find time to do it. But yeah, we were playing it with a group of 4 people. We were talking the entire time. We weren't listening to cutscenes. We had no clue what the hell was going on. Heck was going on. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, let's step away. Let's be on, like, let's be nice with Call of Duty. No, I'm not a fan of the Call of Duty campaign. I went back and played it a little bit by myself because I was actually genuinely curious if it was just us playing it, not enjoying it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, honestly, where are we going to get away with the campaign and say that, oh, here's your mission, kill these guys, have your teammates, whatever the guy's general's name is, whether it's like, I don't know his name, but either way, you're basically just shooting people, going through missions, doing the exact same thing over and over again. We'll put you underwater. We'll put you in a submarine. We'll give you this massive tank, and you can shoot everyone. It's no offense, but it seems just to be the same thing. And I'm waiting for a Call of Duty campaign to do something completely different, where you don't just do the standard thing, where you have like a storyline behind it. Because I don't like, at least in this Call of Duty campaign as well as the other ones, like you don't know where your soldier like really comes from. You don't really know where your character's pastime. At least for this one, like in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, you know who you were. You were kind of like understanding the story, and like MW2 is a good one. Like there's been good Call of Duty campaigns, but I'm just waiting for a Call of Duty to reach the point where we're saying, hey, let's do something different. Let's do something edgy, because you can't get much worse. That's all I'm gonna say, because it just seems to be the same thing over and over again.
I think the reason that is because it's a 4-player co-op campaign. And it's meant about spending time with each other, having fun doing that, more than the actual story.
Caring for each other.
I know, it's just
giving each other hugs.
Hugs when they down, they throw the controller across the room and break their phone. Yes, we've all been there.
It's not.
I
don't know. It just frustrates me. I'm not like hating on Call of Duty, but just not just this one.
Kill.
I know. I'm just not a fan of it. I'm just not a fan of the Black Ops 3 campaign. I know I went off on a tangent for like no reason, but I'm just not a fan of it. But and I know Paradox just mentioned a little bit, but any other things that you guys, like I said, we're obviously past the beginning of the game. We're not in that stage anymore of just, oh my god, we're playing a new Call of Duty. Your guys' opinions, Goalie, Tommy, whatever you want to mention, any part, because I know we mentioned the campaign, multiplayer, anything that you guys think is good or that you dislike about it.
I love every gun except the Weevil.
Oh.
I love the Weevil, and I want to love it, but it's so bad.
Well,
Okay,
I was
thought about
attached
the
to
other
that
day.
gun.
no Christmas card for you.
No
then,
Christmas
Mr.
card for me.
Hashtag
The
not
Weevil is
Play that
now
card, I'm
officially
gonna
like
play my
the.
cards.
It's everybody's favorite weapon, and it's so bad. There is no situation that you can use the Weevil and that you will be in an advantageous gunfight. You always
Well,
always
there
have
is
the
if you haven't
disadvantage
got a
when using
gun.
the Weevil.
What if you don't have a gun and there's a weevil on the floor?
You're better off punching someone than having a Weevil.
You're really gonna take that card?
Oh,
Really? You're gonna say that?
Yeah, yeah.
I think Goalie's just jealous because he can't use the weevil and other people can.
No, I can use it. I can use it. It's
Was that-
just bad. It's
Was
bad. Yeah. Landon can testify that I went like 30-2 with it on Combine.
With the Weevil?
Yeah.
The Weevil's not terrible. Like,
Was that against bots?
granted, like if you have the right attachment, it's like, to me, it's like the same thing with the Shiva. If you grind out the weapon, you'll be rewarded in the end. Obviously, if you prestige your weapon, then you're basically where you started from. But with the stat track option, which is fantastic, I might add, you actually have a
Yeah.
reason to now. But I think the Weevil gets a little bit of hate. I think it could obviously improve if it had a little bit more, to do with it. Because obviously, are you going to run the VMP? Are you going to run the Razorback? Are you going to run the Kuda? Are you going to run this or that over the Weevil? Obviously, yes. So I think if you have the right attachments, it can be close, but it's not going to compete. Do I agree with buffing the Weevil? If you want all the guns to be on the same wavelength, which is like kind of how Black Ops 3 is set, like that's why I love Black Ops 3 in a way, because it's not, hey, here's a good weapon for the ARs. Hey, here's the best weapon for the SMGs. It's, hey, all these guns are good in different situations. We're going to buff them. We're going to raise them down. And at different times, one of them is going to be better than the other. But for the most part, you can use any weapon and still be okay with it for the most part. And I like that. So.
And don't ever make the mistake I made. I put rapid fire on the Weevil. It doesn't do anything.
rapid fire on the Weevil?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't ever
yeah.
do that.
Just to bring up attachments, I think for the most part, at least, I think that's something I like. The Trek have done, how they've obviously thought about, well, this is clearly going to be one of the more preferred attachments, so let's put it back like down the ranking list rather than being able to unlock everything you need within like the first couple of gun unlocks. Well, I think it's quite a good thing because it means then, as you said, you grind out the gun a bit more, and you have to kind of really earn that good attachment that you want to put on it to get it. It was pretty good, but just in general, I think there's not many complaints. I've a personal complaint. It's not really to do with the game. It's more to do with the servers and Trail getting their act together. Because for the last couple of days, I don't know what it's been. It's definitely not been my connection. The servers have been god awful for Europe. Like I've been connecting to like up to Manchester, and I'm like North London. I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I shouldn't be connecting that far. And all sorts. Just it's been very frustrating because I've been going into a gunfight 4-bar and then coming out of it 1-bar crying on the floor dead. So yeah. But I'm sure it's just kind of volumes of people, and I know they had this problem with the beta and they also had the problem on launch, but
I know that South America's having a lot of issues with their servers. I think they only have 1 or 2 servers for all of South America. And Brazil does still have a huge player pool. Like they have a massive player pool, and they're kind of getting screwed over. I enjoy having a server in Columbus. I think that's the closest one to me. There's one also in Nebraska that's pretty close. So I haven't had any issues. So
I know there's been a couple issues here and there with like patching, and like I think it might have been last night or the night before. You couldn't be on at all. Like there was just like a massive. I don't know what that was about. They didn't even really mention it. Like I actually think they addressed it this morning, like in the middle of the night. They're like, we know players are experiencing issues and we're looking into it. Like, obviously there are going to be things like that. So I think like besides the fact of obviously having the regular annoying things, I know some people are putting in the chat like, oh my gosh, the LMGs, the automatic sniper rifles and stuff like that, the shotguns. Obviously you're going to have that stuff in a game, and I'm still waiting for that to be toned down. But those are issues in the game. I'm going to see those be resolved. There as well. In my opinion, and I'm just going to throw this out there, I'm not a fan of how fast-paced it is. I wish it was just toned down a little bit. I don't know if, at least from a casting perspective, Paradox feels the same, and feel free to chime in if you'd like to. But I feel like this game is not too fast, but just a tad too fast in the light of I would rather players, whenever they reload, to maybe not be able to do that in full sprint, or for instance, if they have their jetpacks, which they obviously can't do this because of like the speed running mode and stuff like that, but to have their jetpacks not be able to, I guess like refresh or recharge as quickly, I think it might make it a little bit more fun to watch, at least in my opinion. But I don't know if you guys feel the same way or not. That's just the way I feel about it. I like the movement system. Don't get me wrong. I think it works a lot better than Advanced Warfare and doesn't, you at least have to have a lot more gun skill in this game. But I'm a fan of slower paced games. I like the average amount that it has right now. But in my opinion, I would tone it down just a hair. Just like, if you have like
just a notch.
For instance, if you have like a dial just a little bit to the left or something like that.
Just a little bit. It's always to the left, never the right.
I agree with that at least. At least looking at it from like a casting perspective, toning it down just a little bit would really help, because I forgot what it was or who was talking. It was like at times, at least casting in Black Ops 3 with the specialists, there can be so much going on.
Yeah.
Like, you can miss a lot of things, like just scrolling through who has their specialist up, who doesn't, who just used it. Like the audio cues and stuff are there, but sometimes it can be a lot. So toning down just a little bit actually might be really good.
One thing I think that they could do instead of slowing it down is improve the game UI. There is no place on screen like where you can see everyone's specialists while in game. If you go look at a League of Legends broadcast, Dota 2 broadcast, any MOBA, you can always see what the build of the player is, what their player build is, what items they're buying, what skills they're unlocking, whatever it happens to be. And it's really frustrating to me that the only time that you see what player is using, like what specialist they're using, is if you're on that player or at the loading screen at the beginning of the game. And there's no, you just don't know what's going on. Exactly. I think like we don't need to show like every weapon that's being used, but just show the specialist somewhere on the UI for every player in the game, and have like maybe a little clock that shows like, and it just ticks, ticks, like, and then you can see when everyone's specialist is up, so you don't have to click through every single player. I don't know.
That'd be really nice. That's actually. That'd be really cool. Like maybe in that like the top right where it has like their scorecards or something. Like maybe have,
or even just under the just under like the middle portion. Like put all the game UI in one spot. So
especially like how big specialists mean in this game, you think that they would actually have that like implemented somewhere. Like that's like a completely like that's gonna win you games. That's gonna lose you games if you use it correctly. If you don't use it correctly either. I know like we were.
Yeah, like as a caster, you have no idea who else is using their specialist. You have no idea. You just know the perspective of the single person you're watching, and that's the hardest part about casting Call of Duty. At least in Counter-Strike, they have the game UI on the side, on each side, so it says weapons here, what grenades are here, if they have a secondary, what weapon they have out. So if they're running with a knife, it will show that they're running with a knife. We don't have any of that, and it's really frustrating.
And I know, obviously, like the basic things. We're kind of talking from a caster's perspective now, but the fact that the scoreboard just doesn't work. Like after games, search and destroy rounds, it'll show you the opposite team that won at the Tortitas 50K when we had that really close game between TK and Rise. TK ended up winning by 1 point, and then it said that Rise won. It's like if anyone wanted to use that as a highlight, you can't, because it's like, or if you want to remember that thing, everyone's gonna be so confused who didn't see that event in the first place. There were people, I think they were showing a shot from the Pro Lounge when it happened, and everyone was like, "Wait, who won?" Like,
I think that was Hitch actually, and
might have been
Hitch
that actually showed that. Might have been one of Hitch's. And by the way, I think Hitch put out his 3rd episode for Vision today, so if you guys want to check that out, 6th fan member. I know you guys already know that. Feel free to check out the episode as well. But yeah, like the players don't even know what's going on sometimes, and I think honestly, fixing the kill feed. Don't even get me started about that. I know you can't even look at the kill feed for accurate information. It's a bunch of colors.
Maybe the thing to go back to like the Black Ops 2 style broadcaster mode, where you have the smaller in-game screen and then you have everything off screen. That's a possibility of a way doing it. Personally, I don't like that because of how small the actual game is, but we need to see, we need to be able to know what's going on for every player in the game, not just the individual player that we're missing.
Exactly.
Or looking at, not missing.
I saw what is it? another had the chat pulled up. TBO Jinrida. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but he made up a good point too. He said the mini map. We said it sucks. I wouldn't say it sucks, but it definitely, he said, needs to be bigger, and I agree. At least the icons on the mini map. When in Advanced Warfare, and Paradox knows this as well. Whenever you're looking at the mini map, even spectators as well, you're looking at the mini map, you can tell where players are going for the most part. And Black Ops 3, either the map's too small or the icons are just too massive, because you don't.
It's the same way.
It looks like a bunch of arrows running around like this little area, and you don't know where they're going, why they're going there. And also, like Goalie mentioned, along with the specialist, you don't know who's the bomb carrier. You don't know which, like I said, like which specialist. You don't know who the flag runner is. If you're in TTF,
I think flags work.
Uplink.
I think
Is it
flags
flag?
works. Yeah.
I mean, like on the side icon.
Oh yeah, that gets covered up because the mini map. Like,
well, what I mean is that, I mean, off to the left, you can see how many players are live in search, and you can see who has the flag.
Yeah.
But off to the right, the scorecard where you look at everything.
oh yeah.
I think that needs to show who's the uplink carrier, who has the CTF flag, who has the bomb in search, who's in the hard point. I think there needs to be an icon for that somewhere so you can know. I think that was in it for Advanced Warfare for some of it. I don't know if it was all.
Because ultimately, that's going to then enable the caster yourselves to then see that little annotation, whatever change, and be like, right, we need to get on board with this person. They're making plays.
Right.
Then you can obviously see it. You can commentate over it, and we can all obviously be happy at the end of the day.
Exactly. Because for right now, you're looking at the players on the minimap trying to like look, and then you're looking at the kill feed, which doesn't match. And then after every round of search and destroy and every major round, you don't know who, if they won directly or not. It's just kind of a mess, and I'd like to see that improved as well.
And all that stuff will be cleaned up.
Oh yeah.
At some
hope.
point,
Least-
they cleaned it up in Ghost and they cleaned it up in Advanced Warfare. Remember? Do you guys remember the first Codcaster in AW? It was complete crap.
Like the graphics, or do you just mean like the first
Like
version?
just the first version of the Codcaster. Like we
Didn't
had
they
these
bring
tiny
it in
square boxes.
Didn't they bring it in for the morning of MLG Columbus? Was it?
I'm pretty sure that was when the patch came in.
They brought the patch in like the night before. Imagine updating.
Well,
Well, I
remember
mean,
Ghost, they didn't
you
even
have
have the kill feed for the first
Yeah,
event.
well, it's because you had to toggle the the scoreboard off, but obviously
Yeah.
we want to be able to see the scoreboard full time.
So they had like a different monitor
Yeah.
with the kill feed, like a little box off to the left.
Oh
so you
man,
could-
we're spoiled now.
We
Like
are.
honestly,
Oh,
like
yeah.
comparatively to the first Ghost Codcaster, we're spoiled as heck.
It's like first world problems for podcasting.
Yeah.
It's like, but
It moved
I think
the kill feed. Like, why would?
yeah, I don't know. Personally, I liked when the kill feed was in the top right.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, because you can see the score, you can see up to the right. Traditionally it's in the bottom, but that's just my opinion. Either way, I think we've talked about the bugs enough for Black Ops 3. That stuff will most likely be fixed, especially the Codcaster mode. I know they've talked about it, and it's enough for us to kind of complain about it because I think the main reason why we complain, I say the word complain, is because we care. Like if we didn't care, we just would say like, oh, this is dumb. I think we say it too much, where the fact that we just see so much potential that if it is fixed, we're like, okay, that's perfect. This is the reason why this is working. And I think we're giving criticism because we think that there's so much potential with the game rather than just hating.
Constructive. It's like we're just trying to make a better game, and
Exactly.
we're not gonna write a letter to Mr. David Wonderhall. We're gonna scream and chat about it instead because it's much funner.
Yeah, we're gonna scream in chat and on Twitter. So
Exactly.
That's what we do best.
I think you guys made a joke and I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the next topic.
Okay.
I missed. What'd you guys say? I missed it.
it's not important, Landon.
It's not important.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. So next thing I want to talk about, I know we're just kind of going from topic to topic, trying to just going along. For those who don't know, the IEM or the Intel Extreme Masters was this weekend. Thank you, Goalie. I appreciate it. The Intel Extreme Masters for League of Legends and CS:GO. Were those the only two events? The only two games?
Yeah,
I mean?
I'm pretty sure it was just CS:GO and LOL, or at least that's all that was broadcasted.
Yeah, it was held in San Jose, California, and there was a major guy there. For those who may not know, Mark Cuban, billionaire. I don't know if you guys know who Mark Cuban is. If you watch the NBA, you probably do because he's the owner of an NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks, and he's also on a show. One of my favorite shows to watch on TV, the Shark Tank. I don't watch much TV. That's probably the only show that I watch anymore. But he's obviously a major deal in media. He's like a major guy in social media on Twitter. I think he's got like 3 million followers. And he was actually at IEM. He was for the most part, for League of Legends. I don't think he went over to the CS:GO part. But I really enjoy seeing stuff like this for the fact that he was there. I don't really know if he knew what he was going to be doing coming into the event. But in the past, he's talked about having articles. I think he was on I can't remember what magazine it was. It was a really popular sports magazine, and he was in one of the main front pages talking about esports. And at this event, he basically said that esports are the future. And if you're not in it right now, you need to be, because, and then he said something along the lines of esports are actually real sports. Don't agree with that because they're esports, but either way, still, it was positive things, which is really nice.
Mate.
Exactly. And I know there's been like a big deal for those who haven't seen the Colin Cowherd thing, where he's also like an esports, or not, he's also a sports guy. On ESPN, he's on a show called The Herd, and he was kind of talking about it and downgrading esports and giving stereotypes and stuff. And basically, Mark Cuban just responded to that, said he's wrong, and it's just really good to see people in the media, major and guys who are known for big businesses, shouting out esports and saying, "Hey, there's something here. There's something to reference from." And even though it was at a CS:GO event, even though it was at a League of Legends event, this is only positive feedback for us. The Call of Duty scene.
And Mark Cuban actually played in the show match. He played his first 3 games or 4 games of League of Legends that day, which he ended up getting a kill.
That must be
he ended up getting a kill, so that was good. That was cool to see.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would struggle to do that.
He's got more kills than I've ever gotten in League of Legends.
Have you ever played League, Landon?
I have, and I didn't get a kill.
Oh, rip.
I like Dota 2 better. I'm just, it's just me though. But I know everyone likes League of Legends. I just like Dota 2. I don't know why. I just do. But even another player, like I think at the International, the TI5 this year for Dota 2, Jeremy Lin, who's also a very well-known NBA player, was also at that event too. So there's like, you're going to see little things here and there, but especially Mark Cuban being as well-known as he is and being as smart as he is, dealing with business-wise, to see him at that event and only giving positive feedback, saying that this is the future, is, it's very humbling. It's really nice to see that everyone's work, whatever esport that you're in, is paying off. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thought it was really, really interesting. And we're going to move on to the next topic, which is a big deal. Everyone was talking about it in the chat before, and it is the CSGO rumors going around about OpTic Gaming possibly acquiring TSM. And everyone's been wondering.
CSGO team.
Yeah, well, sorry, I probably should.
Yeah, not the whole org.
Yeah, they're looking to acquire TSM, Team Solomon as a whole. No, just their CSGO team.
Leak the intel.
I have leaked the entire thing. It's OpTic TSM now, for those who may not have missed it.
Oh, man.
But I think that honestly, whether or not this happens or not, we obviously saw it with Envy picking up a very well-known team. What was the team called actually before Envious?
LDLC.
LDLC. They picked them up. Obviously, they're very well-known. One of the top teams in CSGO right now for, Envy. Overall, I saw a lot of people. Actually, I saw someone tweeting at me the other day, and they legitimately asked this question. I think it's kind of funny. But in your guys' opinions, obviously we're most likely going to have the same answers. Is it good that Call of Duty organizations are branching out into other esports, or do you think it's actually hurting the esports that they were originally in? This is a question I had from someone the other day. I responded to them. But in your guys' opinion, do you guys think it's good that we're having Call of Duty organizations, not necessarily that it's OpTic, that's just a rumor, but teams like Envy, teams like Denial, who weren't necessarily always in the Call of Duty scene, but Envy specifically, who's branching out? I think Envy's got like a Gears of War team. They're just like branching out into so many different esports. Do you guys think it's good that they're branching out? Do you think that they're growing, or do you think that's going to hurt the Call of Duty scene because they're not going to be focusing on only Call of Duty anymore? I know it's a hard question to answer.
Not really, because as they branch out, like Hastro's done, you kind of develop divisions of the org. You don't just have like one team manager that has to deal with like everything. As you develop over time and you pick up new teams and go into new esports, you obviously, if it goes well, at least you'll often come into a bit of money, especially as it like kind of diverging into different esports. It looks good on the sponsors front as well, and then obviously you have subdivisions, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing. Does it harm COD? Well, not really. I mean,
it can indirectly, but it can also indirectly help us.
Yeah, exactly, because we can go into obviously other esports, and then kind of they can be like, well, this is what we did in COD. And they're like, oh, before Envy picked up LDLC, I would have never been a fan of LDLC. And now because that roster is on Envy, I will go out of my way to go watch an Envy CSGO game, or CSGO match. Same thing the other way around. Yeah, some people in other esports might think, oh, it's Call of Duty. But some people in other esports also say, oh, that's League of Legends. Ew, please. No, get away. But
Back
all together, it's good having orgs expand into the other esports because it just expands the orgs fan base overall, which in turn can lead to more viewership.
I can see where you're coming from.
Because when Cloud9's Hearthstone team plays, or one of their players on their Hearthstone team plays, that player is going to get a lot more viewership than if they were with C9 or if they weren't with C9. So
Yeah,
I kind of said that wrong, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I'm gonna hear Paradox. What's your opinion on it? You think that, I mean, either way, do you think it helps grow esports overall, whether it's COD or not, or do you think in a way that it kind of takes away from the esports that they were originally in? I know we're kind of talking about NV indirectly in a way, like we're just not saying NV even though we are. But do you think that helps us grow, or do you think in a way that kind of divides us down, saying that we're no longer the first priority, if that makes any sense? I'm just curious on your opinion about it.
Well, I like seeing expansion for any of the organizations because, once again, it's that sort of indirect thing. Especially with that Envy example in CS, where it was like I didn't really watch them before. Oh, now it's Envy. I'm gonna go and watch them. As far as if it takes away, once again, indirectly, it can. But I really do want a lot of orgs to have larger fan bases, and I think that expansion and everything can definitely help in that department, and it's really good to see.
I agree. It's it can honestly go either way. I know Tommy kind of mentioned as well. It's like, well, it could, but if they don't do it correctly, it also, I mean, it could definitely not hurt it, but
hurt. If you expand to a different esport and then completely abandon one of your teams, then in the long term that hurts. I know some of the TSM players on their Smite team have had a lot of issues recently with their organization, saying that TSM, quoting from a Reddit post, that TSM is like a distant father that pays the bills.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, that is from a Reddit post from one of the TSM players.
Sure, it was
from
Reddit
one
post.
of the TSM Smite players. And TSM cares. They live and die by their LOL team. They live and die, and they kind of have ignored other organizations that are, or other teams that are under their organization.
So overall, I think the consensus that we can take from this is that yes, it's good because overall it gives us more viewership. Like I said, if you see, like for instance, now if I'm watching a CS:GO event, I know Envious. I know this team. I know that team. You know, I know that there was a big deal and a rumor that Winter Fox was going to be joining the Call of Duty scene, that there was going to be Titan joining the Call of Duty scene as well. If they would have joined, I know about that org now. I can, if I'm a fan of Envious, which you know there's a lot of Envy fans out there, most likely they're going to be more entertained. They're going to be more likely to go watch a CS:GO tournament because they're familiar with the organization. They know, the players. They wear the same, apparel that the CS:GO team is wearing or that the Call of Duty team is wearing. And I think, honestly, if you do it correctly, obviously in moderation, there's different things here and there's different things there. But if you do it correctly, I think there's only positive things that can come from it. Because obviously you see the biggest organizations the biggest organizations who are in esports today have more than one team, and they're very good in more than just one esport. You look at teams like Fnatic. I know we've mentioned TSM. The massive amount of organizations are more involved than just one esport. Not saying that you have to branch out. Like, I'm not saying that OpTic Gaming has to go out and buy a CS:GO team without any means, because they're doing fine with just having a Halo and just having a Call of Duty team. But I don't think in some organizations' favor that it hurts us at all if they do it correctly, because I think it just provides more of an audience who might have not watched it in the first place if that team wouldn't have existed.
And
so,
like, let's just say hypothetically, OpTic does pick up TSM CS:GO roster. OpTic isn't going to abandon Scump, Karma, Crim6, and friends. Like, they're going to work together as a family. OpTic is a family. They work together and try to promote each other. That's what they've always done. That's how that organization works. So.
Exactly.
In the long term, OpTic picking up more teams, expanding into other esports, that would just be a good thing for them.
Right. I know, like I said, I know we're just jumping from topic to topic, but there's a lot of stuff that's happened that's not like really been. There's not announcements to talk about besides obviously the qualifier for the Call of Duty World League. We're just kind of talking from topic to topic, so I'm not trying to just, hey, let's talk about this, hey, let's talk about that, but that's really the only way to kind of do it. So. Could OpTic be going over and picking up teams? It's possible. Other esports are definitely an option that we've mentioned, and I'm not going to say the same thing over and over again, but you guys kind of understand what we're talking about. So Another thing that I want to mention is players obviously switching from MLG to Twitch. Like we said, we're going to be doing that next week as well. But I'm really happy about the success that I'm seeing from pro Call of Duty players now on Twitch. I don't remember if anyone really watched Merc while he was on MLG.TV. Not a whole lot of people did. I've actually been comparing numbers, the average numbers that I used to see on Twitch streamers compared to MLG streamers for Call of Duty. Like, for instance, Merc, he would average on a regular day in Advanced Warfare. Granted, it's Advanced Warfare, not Black Ops 3, but still, it's AW. He would average around 15 to 20 to 30 viewers on MLG.TV. Last night, he had 1,400 viewers on Twitch, and he was doing basically everything this exact same way. Like, obviously, he's talking with his chat, but that's just the power, in my opinion, that Twitch does have. Teep was going from around like 50 viewers and 75 viewers to now having over 4,000 viewers, having up to 10,000 viewers on streams where he was playing Black Ops 3. It's just I'm so happy to see our players. It's hard to explain. I'm really happy to see our players who have had struggles streaming now being able to have that success and being able to have. I know even Golden Boy has been very helpful with some of them, giving them subscriber buttons as well so they can grow even more. Some of these players who have switched over from MLG to Twitch, at least some pro players, are like Formal, John, Spacely, Facento, Octane, Karma, Mochilla, Methods, Ricky, Parasite, JCap, Neslo. There's just been so many players who have kind of made that transition over and seen success from it. Which I think is a good thing. I think honestly, it's something that I'm really happy to see. That whether what streaming website you're on or not, I'm just happy to see that they're seeing success and that they're having more money come their way in the long run. And I'm just happy. I just want to mention that because I'm really happy to see that be a thing. So I don't know if anyone else wants to talk about that or not. If not, that's fine. Just kind of like a happy thing. Happy thing.
I think it's nice to, as you said, like shows the power of Twitch, if you will.
Exactly.
It's nice to see some of these streamers that may have had a bit of a struggle at some points now kind of getting a lot of love, and it's what they really deserve.
Absolutely. So just happy to see the success of pro players, wherever it is, whatever they're doing, just happy to see that they're doing well in the long run, whatever it is, whether it's YouTube, whether it's streaming, whatever it is, that they're just having success wherever they go, whatever streaming platform that it's on. So next thing, really quickly, as we kind of close out the show, there's been a lot of Reddit posts from Parasite, actually. I don't know if anyone's been able to see this or not. I know Paradox is obviously on Reddit a good amount, and I am on there occasionally. He's been making some massive Reddit posts talking about a number of different things. Today, I believe he posted an article, or not an article, but like a post, I guess you could say. I'm not familiar with Reddit terms. I apologize. But today he was talking about the maps, basically regarding to different spawns, spawn logic, and so on and so forth on Reddit. And I believe a couple days ago he was talking about the stuff that he thinks needs to be globally banned, which I know we talked about a little bit earlier, which I was really happy to see, because a lot of Reddit can be a place where if you say something stupid, everyone's going to call you bad on it, which is fine, because that's just where a lot of the Call of Duty, I don't know how to really say it, like connoisseurs, I know that's a big word for me, but that's where like, a lot of them kind of reign at, and where they're like, if you say something dumb, they're like, that's not true, this is what this actually is. And he was receiving a lot of positive feedback on it. Some things he was talking about was 6 Sense. He talked about Tracker. He was mentioning C4, how UAV and the Hater isn't competitive, the Guardian and the Sentry, the care package, and some of the weapons and stuff, which I thought was good. If you guys want to, I'm going to link especially the one talking about the global bans in the chat if you guys would like to. Just give it a read. It's honestly really good to look at. I'm not going to get into the topic of global bans and doing this and doing that. I think Parasite described it very, very well. And if you guys have any time to look at it, I would definitely recommend doing that. It's a good read, and he talks about a lot of the stuff, why things need to happen, and why there's been a lot of discussion about stuff like that. So, whether you, and I know some people are saying in the chat they don't agree with Parasite most of the time, but just give it a read. He brings it from a regular person's perspective, so I would recommend that you do that. So, I guess that kind of does it for the show. I know it's been kind of all over the place, but there is one last announcement that we want to talk to you guys about before we close out the show, which is actually in part to one of our sponsors. And you know what? I'm going to let Goalie give the announcement, because he's just
this.
You're going to give the announcement.
Man, I was about to pull a hitch and look at my phone and start like zoning out.
I caught you. So people who have stuck around to the end of the show might get rewarded. You might get rewarded.
Well, we should be promoting the heck. the heck out of this. I'm sorry. I haven't been streaming recently, so I'm letting things slip more often now. So next weekend, when we're streaming on Twitch, we will also be doing a live giveaway of the scuff for a PS. I like Paradox's reaction.
That was perfect.
We needed like a clap. We needed like an applause. Yeah. So Scuff has been nice enough to give us a Scuff 4 PS to give away on the show next week. I think we will be doing it somewhat like through Twitter, like we have done in the past, where you will have to be in the stream to know what to tweet on Twitter, and that's how we've done giveaways in the past. And then, but yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. I love my Scuff 4 PS. I would get it if it wasn't behind my green screen and I have to leave.
Got it.
But okay, there you go. There you go. They're awesome. I had some issues adjusting to it at first, but I love the paddles now. So I'm a huge fan of it.
Like, obviously, it's gonna take some time, in my opinion. I mean, personally, I shoot with L1 and R1 because I'm used to playing station, and so it's a little bit hard to get used to. Since you're meant to shoot with your bumpers or L2 to R2. So either way, you know, it's great. We really, really do appreciate Scuff for even allowing us to give one of their products away.
Yep.
And it's just it's basically a welcome home present from us to you, even though we're basically going home. Makes sense? I don't know.
Yeah, but thank you, Scuff. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Cannot thank Scuff enough. And also G Fuel, obviously our sponsors, very, very appreciative to what they do for us. Make sure to use code STIKS at the checkout. Almost said discount, but that is the discount.
And thank you to Paradox for listening to us announce 3 things today and just sitting there quietly.
He's been so polite, man. He's been such a polite dude. I appreciate it. So I think that's going to kind of do it for the show for the most part, unless there's any other topics that we want to mention, any things we want to get to. You know, how's your life going? If you want to mention that at all, you know, we can talk about taxes or
there's an event on this weekend that I'm attending.
Okay, Tommy, go for it. I'm gonna go get a drink of water. I'm kidding.
No one cares. No one cares. No, there is an event.
I'm kidding. Go ahead, Tommy.
No one cares. There is an event
care.
on this weekend
care.
that no one probably knows about, and it's a European event called Anti Pro. They've already done 2. This is the 3rd one. I'll be there with Excel. Come say hi. That's about it. You know, I don't
want to be held at. If they're obviously from where it's near, because I don't know where it's near at. I
live right near where the event.
Right next to where the event is.
Where's the location of the event at?
It's Peterborough.
It's what now?
What is this? What town?
Peter?
Okay, Pita from Hunger Games. Pita.
Borough.
Burra. Got it.
Borough.
Burra. Barra. I'm trying really hard.
Bora.
Bora?
That's what you said. Peterborough.
Peterborough.
Oh my god.
I just said it the exact same way that you told me to.
Either way, it's in Cambridgeshire and I live in Cambridgeshire.
All right.
So yeah, it's happening this weekend. If you're from the UK, come check it out. It's free entry for everyone. So like you don't have to pay if you can get yourself there, even if you get the train, do it. As I said, I'll be there, come say hi. Yeah. I don't know what teams are attending. I know there's a lot of big teams attending, but I don't know how many. I don't know which ones are confirmed or not yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's gonna be a really awesome event. Saturday, Sunday. Come hang out, play some Call of Duty.
Come see Tommy at Peterborough.
I'm sorry. Stand. Hi.
Give Tommy a big old hug. You'll most likely be taller than he is. Either way, let's go ahead and close out the show. We get our outros, and that's gonna kind of do it. So obviously, 30 seconds or less. Shout out whoever you want to, and or say whatever you want to, whoever you want to. You got 30 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and go to goalie first because Tommy is not there. I'll go to Paradox after goalie, and then I'll go to Tommy. So goalie, Paradox, Tommy, myself.
Thank you guys for watching the Sticks. I had a lot of fun, surprisingly. Surprisingly, I just said that. Wow. From now on, you can expect to see me on the show more. If Hitch, so what the plan is with the Sticks is that Tommy, Landon, and Hitch will be the going 3, And then if we do not have a guest or if Hitch cannot make it, I will be on those shows. So I hope you guys like me. Otherwise, I'm sorry. You have to deal with me. So
Tough luck.
tough luck.
Tough luck. All right, Mr. Paradox. Quentin.
Well, first, thanks for having me. This was absolutely amazing. I loved being on. Thanks to everyone who did watch, and I'm pretty sure it was a lot. It was a lot of fun, and vanilla ice cream is amazing.
That is a good ending right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually true. You've had some really good points in the show, and that was definitely your best one, I have to say. But yeah, also Paradox has a GB shirt on. Make sure to, I mean, he's been casting a crazy amount, been grinding out over on MLG.TV/game battles. He'll most likely be casting the next couple of days. I'm sure you guys can definitely find him there. Tommy, is Tommy still here?
Tommy, are you there?
You alive?
Oh, you want to speak to me now?
Oh, look.
Funny that.
He's Harry Potter. He just came
I'd
out
just
from
like to
under
start
the
off
invisibility
by
cloak.
Apologizing to Paradox. I apologize for my co-host's behavior. It's been very appalling today. They've really not behaved themselves. Also in the chat, love you as always.
I could have swore you went to the food shop. I thought that's where you went to. I'm sorry. I thought you went to the food shop. I'm kidding. Go
I'm
ahead.
having words after this. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. As I said, Anti-Pros this week, and if you're attending, it's gonna be great fun, hopefully at least. And then the weekend after is the COD World League qualifiers, which should be awesome as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. You can follow my content. Tommy, no, it's XL_Tommy, 2 Y's now. I have to remember that. And Tommy_esports on the YouTube. So there should be a lot more content coming out. I've kind of figured out what I'm doing now that I've got over being ill and stuff. So yeah, it should be pretty awesome.
There you go. Tommy, obviously just a joke. Me and Tommy are actually brothers.
Yeah, you just yeah.
Joking back and forth. So guys, thank you so much for coming to the show. It's been your dude, your bro, your pal, your man, your ally, their net. It's been Landon. Guys, thank you so much for coming to the show. Sticks fam, appreciate all your guys' support. And we'll see you guys next week on a new platform. Same show, same people, just as good. That's the new quote for the Sticks. I just made that up. So guys, thank you so much for coming to the show. Sticks fam, we love you. And make sure to follow me on YouTube at AirLandon and Twitter on Mr. Austromania. Thank you to Paradox for being on. Lovely guest. He looked fantastic. And he was probably one of the most polite guests that we've ever had on the show as well. So guys, thank you so much for coming to the show. We'll see you all next week on Twitch and MLG.TV. See you fudging later. Peace out.